Hi everyone, it's Professor Patrick. I'm here to introduce to you the Applied Digital Media program at Riverside City College. Now, what is Applied Digital Media, or ADM for short? Let me explain it to you. ADM actually stands for Awesome Design Makers, and that's what we are. Here in our program at RCC, we help students prepare to become awesome designers and makers. So for me to explain that, I have a couple slides to show you and share with you what the whole industry is and what the program is all about. But before I do that, I need to take you back a little ways back to when I was young and what got me started on my path into graphics. Well, it goes back to comic books, as many things do in my life. That's where it started for me. A love for adventure, a love for illustration and art, a love for storytelling, and a love for newsprint and printing. Back in my day, you could ride your bike down to the local 7-Eleven, pick up some comics for $0.25, and have a good afternoon. Nowadays, comics are few and far between, and people don't really read them anymore. They just maybe hoard them and collect them in their dusty collection boxes. But actually, that storytelling and that ability to put a picture with words and tell an adventure, it's still part of our society in one way or another. You know, nowadays we have the big movies that have all come from comic books. Here are some early attempts at my own comic book drawing. We've got some vintage Patrick here drawing Superman and Iron Man and some of the other characters. When I was supposed to be paying attention in school, I was doodling in my notebook. Other things that I do today look a little more like this. I still love to draw. I still love to make illustration and tell stories with my art. And I tend to focus on some of the things I'm a fan of, whether it's Princess Leia or the Psych or Doctor Who series. You know, there are a few things that are still exciting and interesting to me, and I like to make art to represent that. And those things I do in the computer. I also still make comic books. My own comics with my own characters, using my own art and my own stories. That's something that started way back when with a love for storytelling. Well, something I didn't realize was the choice I made in school and what classes to take have affected me and my future career. And so, back in my day, I took a graphics class. And I didn't really know what the graphics class was before I took it. In fact, my friends were taking it because it was a really easy A, and the teacher was pretty lax and didn't ask you to do much. But there we learned about printing presses, and we printed flyers and folders and brochures, different things for the school. And I learned about a darkroom and setting up ink, and even printing T-shirts. It was something really, really fun, actually, to get into. Here's an example of what a screen printing setup looks like when you have a screen frame and you have ink and you press it onto your shirt and you make your design come to life. And that was all something that we explored and were exposed to in that little graphics class at my high school. I also got to see a computer for the first time, a design computer actually. And this is kind of the vintage that I started on, the old Macintosh. Back in the day, these things were state-of-the-art. And it's really interesting how, you know, your phone has way more power than this old Mac used to have. But it was a start, starting off with Photoshop 1, you know, the good old days. So, moving forward, in that class, I started to learn more about not only the art and design, but also how comics were made, you know, seeing printing presses operate, seeing how those things were put together. That was very interesting to me. At the time, like I said, in high school, I didn't realize what an effect that would have on my future career and what choices I would make when I got into college and started working professionally. So, here's the question, you guys. About ready to graduate, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go to school? What are you going to study? So I'd like to give you a little bit of advice on that, because not everybody knows what they're going to do, and not everybody knows where to go and is really ready to make that decision. So if you're in that scenario and you don't have a dedicated plan just yet, let me tell you why community college is a good option. So one of the terrible things about education today is how expensive it is. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. You do not need to spend that much money to get an education. Don't tell anybody I told you that, but it's true. The high cost of education is a scandal, actually. And that debt, starting out with that much debt in your younger 20s, mid-20s, even up till your 30s, when you get out of school, it's a terrible way to start your life. So one of the main reasons that community college is a great option is how inexpensive it is. And I guarantee you that the community college in your area, if you don't plan on coming to RCC, is going to have high quality professors that can help you get started at a low cost. And to me, that's a win. Also, there's another myth that we need to kind of destroy. That myth is that all degrees are the same and that everyone needs to go to a 4-year college. Again, don't tell anybody I told you this, but a 4-year degree isn't for everyone. And that's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. And let me explain why. This is a recipe for success that I think will help most people most of the time. And it's a way to get you started and to pursue your education without a lot of expense, but then also to set you up for a career. So first step is, after high school, select a community college like RCC. Work on a trade certificate or a trade associate, career associate degree when you're there. What does that mean? That means a 2-year program that sets you up specifically for a career, your career of choice. In my case, it would be graphic design and printing. It could be multimedia and animation. It could be film, TV, and video. It could be photography. Some other career that actually your program of study prepares you for that career. That could be completed in 2 years, along with completing GE classes, which would be part of your normal education. At the end of those 2 years, stop going to school. Go to work and start earning a little money. And if you've done a career program, hopefully you'll be able to find a career in that area. You'll be able to find a job. You're not going to be at the top of the heap, but you're going to be starting somewhere at the ground level. And the earlier you get into work, the better off you're going to be. And you'll be in a good position to do that if you've completed a 2-year program. So once you've worked for a couple of years after completing your degree, if your intention is to complete your bachelor's degree, then go back to school after you've already been working. Now, what does that do? That helps you save money, helps you stay out of debt, and helps you get job experience while you're going to school. When you finish your bachelor's degree in your late 20s, then maybe it's time to level up in your career or start your own business. Now, if you do it that way, and you go to school at night or part-time, completing your bachelor's degree, while still working, you'll have a nice resume, you'll have a nice skill set, and you'll be done with your education. And the number one thing, you won't have a lot of debt. So this is how this works. Knowledge plus skills plus experience is what equals success. Where do you get knowledge? You pick up your knowledge at school. You learn academic things. You learn how to read and write. You learn how to you learn about things. Expands your mind to the possibilities in the world around you. That's knowledge. Knowledge is not the same thing as skill. Skill is what you know how to do. What do you know how to do? Do you know how to draw? Do you know how to use the computer? Do you know how to animate? Do you know how to take pictures? Do you know how to use a printer? Do you know how to make something? That's a skill. Skills are what you're paid for at work, not just your knowledge. So if you just have knowledge, you've been in school your entire life and you've never done anything, completed anything, and your resume has nothing on it, you're missing a huge component to your success. So the more skills you can acquire, the better off you're going to be. And I guarantee you that your community college is going to be full of skills that you can learn. A lot of times they call it career technical education. That's where you're going to find those programs that really build your skills. Knowledge plus skills Third and final thing you need, experience, and that's job experience. So the sooner you can build your resume working, especially in a related field, the better off you're going to be. And you're going to be way ahead of someone who just went straight through a university, didn't work at all, and all they did was acquire knowledge. So think about that, and think about that carefully as you decide what to do. So here's just a preview of what you can study in a graphics program, like what you have here at RCC. First, you can study and prepare for a career as a production artist. This is probably going to be the type of job you're going to get first. You're right out of school, you've used Adobe software, you've put together a decent portfolio, you've got some skills, you have some knowledge, but you don't have lots of experience. So you got to start somewhere. You're going to be an assistant, you're going to be a PA, you're going to be a beginner, you're going to be an intern even. Great. That's the right place to start. That's going to get you in the door and get you the experience you need. After a few years, you can expand that knowledge, experience, and skill and become a graphic designer. Now, graphic designer can mean lots of different things, but really what it means in our situation is that you have a lot of experience, years of experience creating things on the computer or with your hands. This could be stuff intended to be printed, stuff intended to be on the web, could be other types of advertising and marketing. This type of position requires a few years of experience, and you're going to be paid better for it. Another one, which is a really good place to look at, is web design. The web is obviously a necessary part of our lives, and it's an important place to market and connect with businesses and promote things. And there are a lot of opportunities for designers that can work in the web space. So if you have an opportunity to study web design, I would do it and learn all the tools you can. Those skills are going to become more and more valuable as time goes by. So really, I think every designer should be interested in web design. Of course, a really popular area is motion graphics and animation, whether it's 3D animation for entertainment or it's motion graphics for advertising and marketing. All those areas are really exciting and fun. So if you have an interest in that, you're going to want to explore other 3D animation tools, build up your skills with different software packages so that you're prepared for that sort of thing. As opposed to just using Photoshop or Illustrator, for example, you're going to need to expand your skill set. And motion graphics and animation is an exciting yet very competitive field to enter. So be prepared for that. You're going to have to work really hard to get noticed and break into the industry. Commercial art and illustration. That would be someone who can take their graphic talent, their graphic ability, and pair it up with their artistic skill and make artwork that tells a story, promotes something, or sells something. Toy packaging here is a fun example of how you could use your artistic skill to create artwork that's used for a purpose. In this case, built into a package to sell a product. That's another aspect of this that you need to think about, is that if you do have artistic skill and you like drawing and painting and doing those types of things, it is good to think about the commercial applications of those skills. Certainly as an artist, it's fun to explore the world and express yourself, but it's also pretty smart to think of the ways that people pay for your skill. And a lot of times that has to do with marketing, advertising, and product sales. Now, let's say you don't consider yourself creative, you don't like to draw, but you do like computers and you do like the idea of making stuff and being involved in this industry. Well, there are certainly a lot of highly technical, skilled positions where you're using computers, devices, and machines to prepare and make prints, whether it's on paper or other promotional products. And someone who has the kind of skill and attention to detail to manage color systems, to deal with printing outputs, is someone in demand. And that would be a prepress technician or some other type of printing technician. Again, you're not required to draw. You just have to have an attention to detail and maybe even be a little OCD, right? Then, of course, there are a lot of fun opportunities to work with your hands in a print shop. And this is one of the unique things, especially about RCC, that we have, which is an active print shop where students can actually use their hands to print t-shirts, to make booklets, to print brochures and posters and signs and stickers and all kinds of promotional products. That's something that's kind of rare actually in the education system right now. A lot of schools have gone to an online model, or they've gone to, a computer lab, which is important to learn the computer side of the industry. But it's also very important to still build up the printing skill that's required. Think about all the things you come in contact with in your life that were printed, whether it's a shirt, whether it's a product package, whether it's a flyer or a brochure or a business card or a sticker or some sort of piece of clothing. Just about everything you come in contact with these days has been printed in one form or another. So it's a very vibrant and interesting industry to get into. In fact, there are a lot of jobs in this area that a lot of people overlook, but they require someone with a lot of skill and a willingness to work hard. And I think it's a good opportunity for many people. That kind of leads into another one, which is just promotional printing. Promotional printing is a really big industry right now, where think about everything you get that has somebody's name on it. Those things all have to be printed somehow. What do you need? You're going to need a portfolio. That's something you should build up while you're in your 2-year program at school. Another thing is your job interview skills. You need to build up your ability to talk to someone, to talk about yourself, explain what you know, and to show an interest in your employer's business. Those type of job interview skills are really important in how you present yourself in your way of determining how to find success. So these are just a few tips and ideas for you to consider as you decide where to go to school. Just to sum up, I would say that it's a good idea to look for a certificate or associate degree program that can be completed in 1 to 2 years and would lead you toward a career in graphics, computer graphics, printing, advertising and marketing, animation and multimedia, or some other type of multimedia entertainment. All right, so that's my advice. Hopefully that helps, and hope to see you around sometime. Take care, everybody.